So I want you to take a second and just look at your hand, like really look at it right now, wherever you are. Inspect the lines crisscrossing your palm. Look at the knuckles, the way the skin folds over the joints, the fingernails. Wiggle your fingers around a bit, clench your fist. It feels undeniably, unequivocally solid, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you knock your hand on a desk, you hear that thud. Flesh meeting matter.
It's physical.
It's so physical. It is the most intuitive thing in the world to believe that you, sitting there right now, are entirely made of dense, physical stuff.
Because that's what your senses are screaming at you every single second of the day.
But what if that feeling of solidity is actually, well, a massive biological illusion?
Oh, this is where it gets fun.
Today on The Deep Dive, we are completely dismantling the physical body. We are focusing on a masterwork of art and poetry called The Rose Maker by Dr. Kim S. MacKenzie.
And just for some context, Dr. MacKenzie is an artist, an author, and a philosopher with a PhD.
Right, total powerhouse. And this specific piece comes from her book, Homage to the Stars by Day and by Night. Our mission today for this deep dive, to explore a radical paradigm shift. We're going to deconstruct this illusion of being isolated, fragile physical bodies.
Which is a lot to ask of people, honestly.
It is, but we're going to replace it by exploring a framework that redefines human consciousness as a vibrating cosmic light frequency.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal challenge to the listener. Because, asking someone to reject the solidity of their own body is essentially asking them to deny the primary sensory inputs they use to survive.
Right, the stuff that keeps us from walking into traffic.
Exactly. We navigate reality based on boundaries. We assume a binary state of existence, like the physical self ends exactly where the skin meets the air.
It's the most basic rule of being a human.
Right. But Dr. MacKenzie's multidisciplinary approach, blending this really rigorous philosophical inquiry with the deeply emotional languages of visual art and poetry, it allows her to basically bypass that neurological defense mechanism we have.
She sneaks right past the guards.
She really does. She doesn't just present a theory to you, she immerses you in a synthesized worldview where the boundaries between physics, metaphysics, and art just completely dissolve.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to truly understand the poetry she has given us, we first have to step inside the world she has actually painted. We have the visual artwork for the Rose Maker, and it essentially serves as the architectural blueprint for the entire philosophy we're going to explore today. We have to map this cosmic garden before we can understand what it means to bloom in it.
I love that way of putting it. It functions perfectly as a schematic. For those listening who obviously haven't seen the painting, you have to imagine a vertical canvas that visually dictates a literal flow of energy.
Yeah, you aren't meant to look at it randomly.
You are meant to read the visual data from the top down.
Right, and at the very top of this canvas, dominating the entire upper echelon, sits this radiant, glowing yellow orb.
It's striking.
It really is. It immediately evokes a sun. But the way the light is structured, radiating outward from a dense center, it almost feels, conscious, like a cosmic eye.
Yes, there's an intentionality to it.
Exactly. It's luminous, burning with this pure, warm, yellow-white energy.
Yeah.
And it is not passive. This orb is actively casting its light downward, basically weeping these gentle vertical striations of energy into the vast space below it.
What's fascinating here is how the visual instantly establishes the core relationship of the entire piece, which perfectly mirrors the title, The Rose Maker.
The maker and the thing being made.
Precisely. We are presented with a prime mover, a celestial source of energy up top, and the space receiving that energy is deeply, deeply layered.
Yeah, describe that background space a bit.
So the background surrounding this yellow orb is a deep, rich, interstellar purple. It completely represents the vacuum of space, and it's dotted with these incredibly bright, four-pointed yellow stars.
Just floating up there.
Right, but as your eye is drawn downward by the light of the orb, that deep celestial purple begins this beautiful metamorphosis.
It is a stunning gradient. You watch the cosmic night sky flow downward and seamlessly transition into earthly, aquatic tones. The deep purple bleeds into these soothing, vast blues, which then blend into vibrant, organic greens.
It's like traveling from deep space right into a terrestrial atmosphere.
Yes, and filling this entire middle and lower section are these undulating concentric white lines. They look like magnetic fields made visible, or rolling hills of light rippling downward.
They create a rhythmic netting. That's the best way to describe it. A netting that catches the light from the orb and funnels it down.
Funnels it right down to the ground.
And that rhythm is crucial. The undulating lines are not chaotic interference patterns, They are harmonic. They suggest order, intentionality, and a medium through which energy can actually travel.
And when you follow that harmonic flow all the way to the bottom center of the painting, the aquatic blues and earthy greens culminate in a breathtaking teal spiral.
Which is the focal point of the bottom half.
Totally. It looks exactly like the unfolding petals of a rose, viewed from directly above. And nestled right in the very center, right in the heart of this terrestrial rose, sits a single, delicate little starflower, tinted with soft orange and pink.
Notice the deliberate connection there, though. The same four-pointed star shape that exists in the deep purple void of space at the top of the canvas is now resting in the center of the earthly flower at the bottom.
Oh, that is my absolute favorite detail of the entire piece. If you look really closely at those undulating white waves of light in the middle, there are tiny yellow stars traveling down them.
Like they're riding the waves?
Yes. The stars aren't just confined to the purple sky up top. They are tracing the path of the waves, riding the current all the way down into the petals of the rose at the bottom.
It's so dynamic.
It really is. The cosmos is physically extending its fingers to touch the earthly flower. It makes me think of like a spiritual X-ray. It's showing us the invisible mechanics of the universe, bypassing the illusion of empty space to show that absolutely everything is connected by this flowing energy.
And philosophically, it fundamentally erases the dichotomy between above and below. The celestial realm is intimately involved in the structure of the terrestrial realm. The same energetic starlight that exists in the void is actively weaving the structure of the rose at the bottom.
They aren't separate places.
Not at all. This visual flow, this intentional cultivation of energy from a cosmic source to an earthly bloom, is the precise conceptual framework we need to approach the accompanying text.
So let's step into the text. The poem sits right below this stunning image. And it's brief, it's only 6 lines long. But the density of thought in these lines is just staggering. MacKenzie immediately confronts this biological lie we talked about in the intro.
Right out of the gate.
Right. The very first couplet reads, "Although we appear to be all of body, it's truer to think of ourselves as a sea."
She wastes no time. She acknowledges the human sensory experience immediately with the word appear. She validates that yes, when you navigate a three-dimensional physical space, you appear to be a solid body.
I have to push back here, though, on behalf of our physical experience.
Sure for it.
Because it's beautiful poetry, obviously. But if I'm a boundless sea of light, why do I suffer so much physical and psychological boundary trauma? Like, if I touch a hot stove, the pain isn't some abstract cosmic concept. It is an immediate, agonizing reality localized entirely in my finger.
It demands your attention.
Exactly. The body demands our attention constantly. If we are inherently connected to the universe, why is the human condition so deeply defined by a feeling of profound physical isolation?
You are hitting on the exact paradox she is trying to resolve here. The illusion of solidity is evolutionarily mandatory. Our brains evolved to process reality on a macroscopic scale because that is the scale where predators exist. That's where food exists, where immediate physical danger exists. Your brain interprets a table as solid because if you walk into it, you will damage the cellular structure of your body.
Okay, that makes sense. It's practical.
Very practical. The sensation of pain is just a localized alarm system. But here is a critical distinction we have to make. Biological utility does not equal fundamental reality.
Okay, so let's explore the fundamental reality then. If we strip away the evolutionary survival mechanism of perception, what are we actually looking at?
Well, at a quantum level, the concept of solid matter completely evaporates. The atoms that make up your hand, the hand you looked at earlier, are 99.999% empty space.
Which is always so wild to think about.
It is. If you scaled up the nucleus of an atom to the size of a marble, the electrons orbiting it would be miles away.
Wow.
So what you feel when you touch a table isn't solid matter hitting solid matter. It is the electromagnetic fields of your electrons repelling the electromagnetic fields of the table's electrons.
So it's magnets.
Basically, it's a force field interacting with a force field. You have never actually physically touched anything in your entire life.
That is just mind-bending. The thud we hear when we knock on wood isn't physical density. It's just the translation of repelling energy fields into acoustic vibrations that our brain can interpret.
Precisely. And this is exactly why MacKenzie uses the word truer. She is saying that while the body is a practical interface for navigating Earth, it is scientifically and philosophically truer to conceptualize ourselves without those hard boundaries.
Because the boundaries don't actually exist.
Right. And notice the metaphor she uses to place the body. She doesn't replace a solid object with another solid object, like a rock or a tree. She replaces it with a sea.
Let's dive into that word, because a sea is inherently antithetical to a contained body. You can't put a sea in a box.
No, you really can't.
A body has a distinct epidermis, right? There's a clear geographical line where you end and the rest of the universe begins. But a sea is continuous. It is vast, fluid, and its depth is largely imperceptible from the surface.
Furthermore, a sea is a medium of interconnection. If a tectonic plate shifts at the bottom of the ocean, it creates a displacement of energy that travels across thousands of miles, and eventually that energy manifests as a wave crashing on a distant shore.
The ripple effect.
Right. The water on the shore is directly connected to the event in the deep ocean. So by redefining you as a sea, MacKenzie is forcing a shift in your spatial awareness. She is dissolving your physical edges to prepare you for the next conceptual leap in the poem.
Which begs a massive question. If my physical edges are dissolved, and I am not a solid body but a fluid, boundless sea, what exactly is the substance of that sea?
Because it's not literal ocean water.
Right. And Kenzie answers this in the third line, and it is perhaps one of the most stunning, highly specific descriptions of the human soul I have ever encountered.
It really requires deep, careful analysis. So what does she say the sea is made of?
She defines our true substance as an ebbing, rosy, gossamer light frequency.
Let's dissect the architecture of that phrase, word by word. She begins with ebbing, which smoothly maintains the bridge to the previous line's oceanic metaphor.
Because tides ebb and flow. But ebbing specifically implies a receding motion, a gentle, unforced rhythm. It isn't a frantic, jagged spike on a heart monitor.
No, not at all.
It's a breath. It suggests that our underlying nature operates on a natural cosmic pulse.
I love that. It implies a state of being that does not require constant, exhausting exertion. Ebbing is just the universe breathing out.
And then she introduces rosy gossamer.
Which is where we loop right back to the visual canvas. Rosy invokes the visual of the blooming terrestrial flower at the bottom of the painting. It brings in warmth, vitality, and organic life.
And gossamer is such an evocative word choice. You usually hear it used to describe spider silk, or maybe the wings of a moth.
Something incredibly delicate.
Yeah, something that is incredibly fine-spun, almost translucent, hovering right on the edge of visibility.
Gossamer is a fascinating concept, though, because it represents immense tensile strength disguised as extreme fragility.
Oh, that's a great point.
Right, because a gossamer thread of spider silk is pound for pound stronger than steel, yet it can bend in the wind and catch the morning dew without snapping.
So MacKenzie is telling us that our essence is delicate, yes, but it is not weak.
Exactly. It is resilient enough to hold the light.
And then, after painting this beautiful, delicate, poetic picture, she hits us with the core mechanism of her philosophy, light frequency. Here's where it gets really interesting, because she abruptly merges high poetry with quantum physics.
It is a brilliant collision of disciplines. A light frequency is not a romantic metaphor in the scientific community. It is a measurable, fundamental property of the universe. Light exhibits wave-particle duality, meaning it acts as both a discrete packet of energy, a photon, and a continuous vibrating wave. The frequency is simply how fast that wave is vibrating.
I think we need a mechanism-based analogy here to really grasp how an invisible frequency can equate to a physical human being. Because if we just use the old cliche of a radio tuning into a station, that's too passive.
Too passive.
Now let's look at the science of cymatics. Have you seen those experiments with a Chladni plate?
Oh, the vibrating metal plates covered in sand. Yes, it is the absolute perfect visualization for this line.
Exactly. So for the listener, imagine a square metal plate suspended over a speaker or a frequency generator. You take a handful of fine, chaotic white sand and just dump it on the plate.
Just a totally random mess.
Totally random pile of solid particles. But the moment you turn on the generator and pump a specific continuous sound frequency through the metal, the sand goes wild.
It bounces everywhere.
It dances for a second, and then suddenly, spontaneously, it organizes itself into a stunning, perfectly symmetrical geometric pattern.
Often forming shapes that look exactly like complex flowers or mandalas.
Yes. A physical, recognizable, intricate shape is born entirely out of an invisible vibration. If you change the frequency, the sand scrambles and then snaps into a brand new shape.
It's incredible to watch.
It really is. So MacKenzie is essentially telling us that the physical body, the flesh, the bone, the stubbed toe, is just the sand on the plate.
Wow.
The body is merely the dense matter that has been organized into a shape. But the true you, the fundamental identity, is the invisible, ebbing, rosy gossamer light frequency that is causing the sand to hold that shape in the first place.
That analogy bridges the gap flawlessly. It explains how a frequency can manifest as a body without being the body, and consider the implications for how we view mortality through that lens. If the sand gets blown off the plate, or the plate itself eventually rusts and breaks down, the frequency hasn't died.
The machine is still running.
The vibration is still happening, the energy field remains completely intact, it just lacks the physical medium to display its pattern in this specific three-dimensional space.
That is staggering. We are not a static object. We are a continuous energetic event. We are a beacon constantly transmitting.
And if you are a radiating frequency rather than a contained biological vessel, your boundaries don't stop at your skin. A frequency emanates outward. Your mood, your consciousness, the specific vibration of your thoughts, they are continuously rippling into the environment around you.
Which brings us to the terrifying and beautiful question of scale. Because if I am an emanating frequency, how far does my signal reach? We might assume it fills a room, or maybe affects the people sitting immediately next to us on the bus. But MacKenzie takes this delicate micro-level gossamer thread and strings it across the most incomprehensible distance imaginable. She writes in line 4 that we are a frequency that can vibrate with rhythms of the galaxy.
This represents an explosive expansion in the scope of the poem. We have moved from the internal anatomy of a single human soul to the macro architecture of astrophysics in a single breath.
She is introducing the concept of cosmic resonance. Let's explain how resonance actually works, just on a practical level, because it's the key to this line.
Definitely.
In physics, resonance occurs when an external force drives another system to oscillate with greater amplitude at specific frequencies.
Think of two tuning forks tuned to the exact same pitch, like middle C.
Oh, this is a great example.
If you strike one tuning fork so that it vibrates and bring it near the second one, the second tuning fork will spontaneously begin to hum and vibrate in sympathy.
Even though it was never struck.
Even though it was never touched.
Because the energy waves traveling through the air find a matching receiver. The invisible space between them isn't empty, it's a conduit. What MacKenzie is arguing here is that human consciousness is not a localized anomaly entirely isolated from the universe. She proposes that our specific rosy gossamer light frequency possesses the innate structural capacity to tune into and harmonize with the massive pulsating rhythms of the cosmos itself.
This touches on elements of panpsychism. It's the philosophical view that mind, or a mind-like aspect, is a fundamental and ubiquitous feature of reality. If consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, kind of like gravity or electromagnetism, then it stands to reason that the macrostructures of the universe operate on frequencies that a microstructure of consciousness a human being could resonate with.
Let the listener really internalize the scale of that for a moment. The Milky Way galaxy is not a silent, static painting up in the sky. It is an aggressively dynamic, deafeningly loud environment. Pulsars are spinning incredibly fast, emitting massive rhythmic waves of electromagnetic radiation like cosmic lighthouses. Supermassive black holes are warping the very fabric of space-time, sending out gravitational waves. Entire solar systems are locked in orbital resonance.
There is a massive polyrhythmic heartbeat to the universe.
Yes, and MacKenzie asserts that the delicate frequency inside you can feel, match, and hum in sympathy with that exact galactic heartbeat.
Which points us directly back to the visual map she painted at the start. The tiny four-pointed yellow stars don't just stay in the deep purple void. They travel down the undulating white waves of light, the frequencies all the way into the delicate petals of the terrestrial rose.
The connection is right there on the canvas.
The macro-level galaxy and the micro-level human soul are not separated by an impassable gulf of empty space. They are connected by the exact same resonant wave.
You know, it completely cures that sense of existential dread we all get sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
You know the feeling. You walk outside on a clear, dark night, you look up at the sheer volume of the stars, and you feel incredibly overwhelmingly small. You feel like a meaningless speck of dust.
It's a very common human reaction.
But MacKenzie's leaning in and saying, no, you aren't small. Your physical body is small, but your frequency stands the exact same distance as the starlight. You belong to the rhythm.
She has completely dismantled our spatial limitations. But for MacKenzie, conquering space isn't enough. A galaxy, as massive as it is, still exists within the confines of time. So in the very next line, she takes this vibrating light frequency and stretches it to span the fourth dimension.
Line 5. Through the past and the future of eternity.
This raises an important question about the fundamental nature of time and how we, as localized biological beings, perceive it entirely wrong.
Right, because if we maintain the premise established in line 3, that we are fundamentally a light frequency, we have to look at how light interacts with time.
And it interacts very differently than we do.
Completely. A biological body decays. Cells replicate, telomeres shorten, and eventually the system breaks down. Biology is a prisoner of linear time.
Right. But a photon of light does not decay.
Let's actually look at the mechanics of relativity here, because Albert Einstein's theories provide rigorous scientific backing to MacKenzie's poetic assertion. According to special relativity, as an object moves faster through space, it moves slower through time relative to an outside observer.
This is called time dilation.
So if you were in a spaceship traveling at 99% the speed of light, a year for you might equate to decades for the people left back on Earth.
Exactly. Now, push that concept to its absolute limit. A photon of light is literally traveling at the speed limit of the universe. Because it is traveling at c, the speed of light, the time dilation equation basically hits zero.
Meaning?
A photon does not experience time, period. From the perspective of a photon emitted by a distant star a billion years ago, the moment of its creation and the moment it strikes your retina on Earth happens simultaneously. There is no past or future for light. There is only a continuous eternal present.
That is profound. If our true essence, our soul, operates as a light frequency, then at our core, we do not exist in linear time. We are untethered from the biological clock.
Which means MacKenzie is completely accurate when she says we vibrate through the past and the future of eternity.
It's not just a poetic flourish.
No, it's structurally sound. In
Yeah.
physics, there is a concept called the block universe theory.
Oh, explain that.
It suggests that the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously in a massive four-dimensional block of space-time. We, as biological creatures, only experience it slice by slice, moment by moment.
Like watching frames of a movie reel.
Exactly. But our underlying frequency, our light, exists throughout the entire block.
It makes me think of throwing a heavy stone into a perfectly still pond. When it hits the surface, ripples expand outward in perfect rings. But imagine if those ripples didn't just move across the spatial surface of the water. Imagine if they also rippled backward and forward in the dimension of time.
Oh, that's a brilliant way to visualize it.
The impact of your consciousness sends energetic vibrations deep into the past and far into the distant future.
Every thought, every moment of empathy, every act of creativity you generate is a frequency modulation that is permanently woven into the fabric of reality. It doesn't just disappear when the moment ends, it resonates through eternity.
It is a stunning, deeply comforting thought. To know that your essence has always been part of the tapestry and always will be.
It's very peaceful.
It is. But I have to admit, it can also be incredibly unmooring. Well, if I am an eternal, timeless light frequency that vibrates in sympathy with the galactic heartbeat, what on earth am I doing here?
Yes.
Why am I stuck in traffic on a Tuesday morning? Why am I paying taxes? Why am I trapped in this heavy, restrictive, painful biological shell on a random rock orbiting a mid-sized star?
It's the ultimate existential friction, isn't it? If we belong to the cosmos, why are we tethered to the dirt?
Exactly.
And Dr. MacKenzie is an astute enough philosopher to know that she has untethered you at this point in the poem. She knows she's taken you so far out into the abstract universe that you are in danger of floating away entirely.
We need to be brought back down.
Which is why the final line of this poem is so masterfully deployed. She brings the lens rapidly back to the micro. She brings us home.
The grand synthesis, line 6. We are this eternal frequency as the flowers of earth grown for our soul beauty.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this single line grounds the entire philosophical framework. It provides the why.
Let's tie it directly back to the visual art and the title of the piece itself, The Rosemaker. She uses the word grown for our soul beauty. If we are the flowers and we're being grown, who or what is the gardener?
The visual map answers that definitively. The Rosemaker is the cosmos itself. It is that radiant, conscious yellow orb at the top of the canvas, weeping its energy down the undulating lines of the universe. The universe is actively, intentionally cultivating us.
So what does this all mean for the human condition? It completely annihilates the nihilistic worldview.
It really does.
Because nihilism suggests that human life is just a fluke of chemistry. a random, meaningless collision of atoms that happen to crawl out of the primordial soup, destined for nothing but eventual heat death.
MacKenzie's framework is the absolute antithesis of nihilistic materialism. She proposes that we are an intentional aesthetic project of the universe.
An aesthetic project, I love that.
Right. The cosmos did not create consciousness by accident. It directed its energy downward into the dense matter of Earth specifically to plant something.
And this addresses my earlier complaint about the difficulty of physical existence. Why do we have to be in the dirt? Because you cannot grow a flower in the vacuum of space.
You need soil.
The cosmos is vast and eternal, but it is cold. It lacks the density, the friction, and the specific localized conditions required for cultivation. A seed has to be buried in the dark, heavy soil. It has to push against the resistance of the dirt to break open and grow toward the light.
That is a brilliant synthesis of the biological and the philosophical. The limitations of time and space, these are not punishments, they are the terrarium.
The terrarium, yes.
They are the necessary constraints required to capture that boundless cosmic frequency and force it to organize into a specific, beautiful shape. Just like the sand on the vibrating plate needs the heavy metal surface to actually hold its pattern.
We are the cosmos experiencing itself through the lens of limitation. We are planted here, watered by the harmonic rhythms of the galaxy so that we can bloom.
And notice what she says we are grown for. She doesn't say we are grown for our utility or our intelligence or our dominance. We are grown for our soul beauty.
That phrasing is critical. Soul beauty completely divorces human value from physical or societal metrics. Because remember, the physical body is just an illusion.
Exactly.
Therefore, physical symmetry, genetic attractiveness, or material accumulation cannot be the definition of beauty in this context.
So what is soul beauty?
Well, if the soul is a rosy gossamer light frequency, then soul beauty is the qualitative harmonic of that frequency. It is resonance.
Let's go back to the tuning fork.
Yeah. When a tuning fork is struck cleanly, it produces a pure, beautiful tone. When it is damaged or warped, it produces a discordant rattle. Soul beauty is your capacity to resonate with the higher frequencies of existence. Deep empathy, profound love, radical creativity, unselfish compassion.
When you operate on those frequencies, you are actively blooming.
You are fulfilling the exact purpose the cosmic rosemaker set out for you when it planted your seed in the soil of this planet.
It really demands a total restructuring of how we evaluate a successful life. We spend a staggering amount of our localized time on Earth obsessing over physical output.
Oh, completely.
Like, what is my net worth? What is my job title? How many miles did I run today? Did I clear my inbox? We judge ourselves and we judge each other based entirely on the actions of the biological illusion.
But MacKenzie's framework renders all of those metrics completely irrelevant.
None of those physical achievements add a single vibration to the sea of light frequency that constitutes your true self. The poem asks you to shift your daily awareness away from production and toward emanation.
Emanation instead of production.
Right. Your worth is not determined by what your hands can build or what your mouth can consume. Your absolute worth is determined by the energetic frequency you are choosing to radiate into the space around you. Are you aligning your vibration with the harmonic rhythm of the galaxy, adding to the cosmic symphony? Or are you generating static and dissonance?
Are you blooming, or are you just occupying space in the dirt?
That's the real question.
What an unbelievable journey this piece of art and poetry has taken us on. Let's just pause for a second and trace the arc of the distance we've covered today. Guided entirely by one painting and 6 lines of text.
It's a lot of ground.
We started by looking at our own hands, confronting the stubborn evolutionary illusion of our dense physical bodies. We allowed Dr. MacKenzie to dismantle that illusion, shifting our reality to understand ourselves as fluid, boundless seas. We learned that the substance of that sea is a delicate, ebbing light frequency, vibrating like sand on a cosmic plate.
Right.
We zoomed out to the macro level, discovering that our internal threads resonate with the massive roaring engines of the galaxy, and we used relativity to understand how our light echoes permanently through the past and future of eternity. And finally, after traversing the entire cosmos, we zoomed all the way back down to the dirt, realizing that we are purposefully planted here to be the universe's most beautiful, cultivated flowers.
It is a towering achievement of synthesized thought. Dr. MacKenzie manages to take the staggering scale of quantum mechanics and astrophysics and fold it neatly into the delicate petals of a teal rose.
And in doing so, she rescues us from insignificance.
She does. She offers a framework where every single human life is inherently meaningful, fundamentally connected, and aesthetically vital to the universe.
I really want you, the listener, to carry this imagery and this philosophy with you as you step away from this deep dive and back into your daily routine. Hold on to the visual of that yellow orb sending starlight down into the rose.
Keep it in your mind's eye.